JRA. Hope you're doing well as well. So let's get started. I'm going to start it with S&P 500, okay? So S&P 500, still to me, what I'm looking at here is still a possible bearish play that can play out here, right? Beginning of the week, I made a post here that when we had the sharp move down from this impulse, so pretty much at a reverse impulse, and potentially it's forming a continuation correction. It is, however, making a deeper kind of a correction. You can see that I was originally had maybe the structure had the structure like this, and then we just kind of evolve into a bigger structure, which is fine. Even if the structure and price action continue to the top, forming a recent double top, that would still be a potential sell opportunity for my end. So I'm still kind of patiently waiting for what the market will do and develop in this Asian session going on to London session. Okay, and ultimately for these US indices is going to be next New York session when it opens. Okay, so looking forward to that, looking forward to the development of this upcoming 24 48 hours. But for now, still kind of waiting to see what will happen in here, if it's going to form continuation correction. We're going to go totally downside from this point forward, and that would be a very good trade, just going down from here to the lows here, and ultimately an overall reversal correction for this move coming up. Then after we breaking the previous low, then we can potentially just move down from this point forward. But still too early to see that, but I do see a potential bearish move is next 24 48 hours. So let's move on to Dow Jones. Very similar structure. It's expanding structure that we're seeing, expanding correction. It's a little bit more neutral or reversal, but what it is telling you is that price is correcting in this kind of phrase, and that we broke the previous top. In fact, we broke the all-time top before the COVID, right back at this, and then we had this recovery, and we're just forming a larger kind of a correction here. Still not too clear that is this going to be a continuation correction for this move, or is it going to be reversal? But what it's telling you in this overall structure here is that it can very well potentially be another move down to complete this overall pattern. Then we'll be able to tell if this structure is going to be reversal or continuation. But for the short term, while I do see if we get a continuation correction here on a lower time frame, we can see that price is somewhat corrective in this phase. And can we get this correction to complete? And can we get that push down from this point forward? Very similar, like S&P, we're looking at this as a double top, recent double top, potential this W style pattern at the top of the structure. Can we start breaking down from this point forward? Very keen to see what the market will do in this upcoming 24 48 hours. Looking for this bearish move, of course. So that is Dow Jones. Someone asked about NASDAQ, right? So NASDAQ, yes, says Jojo. Hi, Ben. So NASDAQ, very similar like S&P and Dow Jones, that it's still looking pretty bearish to me, right? And we're looking at the higher time frame, similar idea. You're in this kind of expanding structure, a little bit more new like the previous two examples. And here on the intradays, is this some sort of ascending channel kind of a correction for this move? So we have this impulse down, potentially correction. Can we get this next continuation down to the previous? Looking like it's very likely to happen. Let it correct in the Asian session or the London session, and then when New York opens, this likely can play out. But I do prefer S&P and Dow Jones. They look a little bit more cleaner to me compared to NASDAQ here. Okay, so that is all the indices I'm looking at least for the US ones. Okay, looking for that bearish move, kind of. When we go to the currency market, let's look at all the currency market for this week and see kind of what I'm seeing still in the market. So if you guys have any questions, just let me know, right? Just throw it out there as I go. So let's look at dollar index really quick. So to me, dollar index, while it's still in this overall correction that I have drawn, that I still see a bullish opportunity that can happen. Okay, so be a little bit more patient. It's like be a little bit more patient on most of these dollar pair, Aussie, yen, and Kiwi pairs that I'm going to go over. They're just need a little bit more development. I know some of you guys may or were looking for the entries, but it didn't happen, or it kind of go away from our entry point. But hey, that's how price action sometimes. You just have to be a little bit more patient on waiting for the right setup, right? You just don't want to jump in the trade when it's not ready yet, right? As it continue to evolve and develop, we just have to be on the sideline a little bit longer. So anyways, going to dollar index here. What I like about it is that we had, when price was in this over area after this bearish move, I mentioned that this could be the reversal correction to push the price up. And we had this little bit push up, but it wasn't enough to continuation more. Instead, we're just forming a larger, deeper correction. This is kind of how I'm seeing that reversal correction. We had kind of the first impulse and then just a larger continuation correction in the making, and potentially we can be looking at the next bullish run from this point forward, right? Impulse, correction, impulse, very similar, very simple to the lower time frame here. This is kind of where what we're working on in this area here is that we had this bottom here. Okay, so we did see a bottom previous low, so we break the previous low and then we did not continue, which is good. And push up, and potentially this is a potential continuation correction. It's like a kind of a channel. You can say a larger flag, whatever you see it, it is correcting the price. Okay, so see this correction to finish. This can just move on definitely for a little bit longer. Whenever the time that it's going to be ready to pop to the upside, that's going to be a good signal or a good indication that we may be, while it is in this correction, it's a little bit undecisive. Okay, you can see these push up, push down, push up, push down, and it's stuck in the middle of this correction still. At least I want to wait for the actual breakout here and then a lower time frame correction. That's going to be my confirmation for this move here going upwards. All right, so that's the index what I'm seeing for this week. So I want to see this week, I want to see that bullish opportunity that will give me the bias on all the dollar pairs that I'm looking at for the strength in dollar. Okay. Sure, I'll jump to those really quickly because I'll jump into those indices really quickly, but not seeing too much. Originally, I was seeing the price action like this. If you guys recall, this is France 40 like you asked, impulse, correction, impulse. But as we break the previous high here, and this is looking like more corrective structure now. It's not very clean or complete yet, but what it's likely to do is correct itself. This becomes a reversal from this top of correction going downwards. Okay, but this is kind of what I'm seeing now. We break the previous top, and this is kind of a crucial area now. It's likely to develop a correction here, and this correction will determine if it's going to put or reversal from this point downwards. But so far, it's not ready or not clean yet, so I'll be just on the sideline for this one. UK 100, you said, right? We had this breakout from the previous top now, right? And price is a little bit looking like it's going to correct itself. So same thing as the France 40 is what's going to do here? Well, it's definitely going to correct, but can we once reversal, correction, or continuation? Okay, and that's kind of what I'm seeing now for these ones here. So that's why I'm not going over two other indices because they're very likely acting very similar. They had some sort of breakout, which is good, but they're also sitting at the previous top now where they're acting like on the lower time frame, it's a little bit consolidations. All right, that's why to be a little bit more patient, just wait for them to develop further. All right. So let's move on. Let's move on to dollar, Aussie dollar. Sorry, dollar. So Aussie dollar. I'm gonna go over a few dollar pair that looks pretty decent that still can shape up to the potential sell or potential strength for dollar. So Aussie dollar here. What I like about it is that if we just zoom out here a little bit, we had this overall kind of ascending channel structure. We had a first push down here, right? So this is a first impulse following the higher time frame, and then now we're just expanding into a expanding type of structure here. You can see that price had a few swing high and swing low, which is usually a good indication that this is just a larger kind of structure to correct this move, and we can still potentially get the next continuations. We see that most of the and QE pairs are going to be relatively very similar, very close in terms of price action and in terms of directions. Okay, so Aussie dollar here, if we just zoom in a little bit, what I'm reading here is originally sell and then end up either taking a break even or a little bit of loss. what price is forming here is very likely the ascending channel structure. So another corrective structure, and going to continue correct to this very top, okay, which is what I want to see, and that will show you a really like a reason double top of this overall expanding structure, and a potential. And I always talk for the next most of the pairs I'm going to go over. Okay, you'll see this very similarly across most of these pairs. The M style pattern is a very clear reversal structure. Push up once, drop down, push up once again, and fail to break top, and then just totally crash down lines going forward. Okay, so I want to see Aussie dollar do that. If it can correct itself a little bit upwards, and then you have that bearish push, good sell setup this point forward. Right? So Aussie dollar. So let's go on to Kiwi dollar, which is probably my favorite dollar pair now for all the dollar pair in terms of strength. Um, let's look at, then you'll see that on the higher time frame here. On the higher time frame here, that this structure is just more clearly as we speak. Okay, so it's more of a ascending channel structure. We're just seeing that the correction is very corrected pricing, even though we had this push up to the price. But what I'm seeing here, that as long as the price is still within this overall channel structure, I can still see this bearish move to play out in the upcoming days or week. So if we go down to the lower time frame here, recall that I had a short position here as well, end up taking a break even, unfortunately, but that happens sometimes, right? Because the price wasn't ready. And now what we're seeing this M style pattern, right? We're seeing this M style pattern, potentially a recent double top that can happen. And what I'm waiting for is just once the price hit that double top area, looking for that bearish move down, and then lower time frame correction to go. I'm going to say this over and over, but it's going to be the same across a lot of these pairs, and a lot of these Aussie Kiwi be very, very similar. But Kiwi dollar is going to be my favorite dollar for this upcoming time. Okay, so I like this M style pattern. I like this overall structure that we're in. We're at the top of the overall structure. We had good for a corrective structure, and looking for this bearish move down is very clean and very, and when it happens, in my opinion, it will be very fast. Okay, it was likely to move down just as fast as this. Just the impulsive phrase, they're going to move relatively fast, right? But when they're in the corrective phrase, they're going to be correcting. Okay, so when I see if this M style pattern, if this is the overall bearish price action reversal that's going to happen, and I do see this bearish move very likely to happen really quick. Okay, so that's Kiwi dollar. Euro dollar, was someone asked me to go over Euro dollar. So Euro dollar, not my favorite dollar pair. Okay, I have a few other ones, like I said, Aussie, Kiwi, Pound. They look a little bit better. Euro dollar can still go. Okay, what I see now is because it's forming this correction here, which is good. Okay, I want to see actually price gets pushed up, to the top here, just like the other dollar pairs that has that similar kind of M style pattern again, and now we can see a potential double top here and top of the overall structure of this expanding structure, and just looking for that bearish move, right? I think most of us are looking for this. Us are looking for the strength in dollar. Don't disregard anything, outside we hear about news and about dollar strength and dollar weakness, whatever. If we're just solely looking at price action, right? Or if you're just solely looking at price action, potential push down, right? And then we'll decide if this is going to be a larger continuation, or is this going to be a potential reversal of this down point forward. Okay, it's still not quite clear, and this is as you develop, you will see the market and the structure evolves, right? See on a higher time frame, if you just erase all this, right? You can see, you can potentially have an argument say that this can be the potential as lower time frame, right? As this is what multi-time frame analysis is so key to trading, in my opinion, is that even though higher time frame may tell you something that is you a different opinion or a different kind of point of view, then that is when you really need to be a little bit more patient, waiting for all the time frame telling you the same, right? And you want to capitalize when all the time frame is telling you the same clear direction. That's going to increase your likelihood of entering a better trade. Sorry guys, the sun is in my eyes. I'm trying to adjust Hopefully I can adjust better. Okay, maybe this is a little bit better. Okay, so that is what I see on euro dollar. Just looking for either a push up to the top here and then continue drop down this point forward, or is it going to break out here and then continue down this way? Either way, not going to be my favorite dollar pair to get in, is because when you have so many of the same kind of pair or same currency pair on watch, you're not likely to take all of them, right? Because this is about correlation, this is about risk management. If you see the same bearish on Aussie, all Aussie to take it short, right? You're going to choose the best one or two and enter those. So let's move on to pound dollar. So pound dollar, recall I had a trade here. I ended up just taking 1-to-1, start backing up, reversing up. So that's why I just end up taking a 1-to-1 here. But still liking the overall structure. I still like the overall structure now compared to what it was weeks ago, right? We had this first push down from the all the way top here, right? This is very clear. And then we had this impulse. We had this larger correction in the making, right? Larger kind of a parallel channel, which is good. And then, we're at the top of the overall structure once again, right? So we're at the top swing highs of the structure. We had this ascending channel structure push up. We had a first impulse. This is potentially a ascending channel correction once again. So how to take advantage of this? Well, wait for this correction to finish, right? This correction is likely to go on a little bit longer. You can see that this is the ascending channel. So if you zoom back to a lot of previous price action, you'll see this ascending channel throughout as the price moves, right? So you know that it's going to give you a better likelihood of this bearish push down, but you just cannot just jump into this while it's correcting. Wait for the breakout and then wait for some sort of continuation correction, push the price down. Okay, so that's pound dollar. Dollar Swiss, I want to ask for dollar Swiss. I do see, as I talk about time and you didn't see a continuation to push down, instead you see a reversal impulse and then followed by a continuation, which is usually a very good sign of that this impulse is no longer valid. We had a reversal impulse correction. Swiss. However, if you guys remember when I said about usually I don't like to trade dollar yen, it's the same idea as dollar Swiss, because when dollar or Swiss are getting strong, it's going to be a little bit indecisive, even though right now here on the low time frame, it is very clear, but on here on the higher time frame, it's still within this larger kind of a corrective phase, right? It's still not too clear as this continue to develop further. It's not quite clear what this structure is likely to do. What is likely to tell you that it's going to be more of a neutral correction, meaning that it can really go both ways. Whereas if we see a strong impulse down and we see a clear correction, and then usually we're going to see continuation. But as this consolidation phase continue to drag out longer, it can become mutual going forward. Okay, so but in the short time, in the meantime, if some of you guys are looking for the buy, yeah, I do see a potential, buy to the previous top, right, to the top of this overall previous top, likely to give you pretty good reward. Still, I would still choose the couple of the dollar pairs that I just went over as dollar one to enter. Okay. And someone asked me to do dollar yen. Let's take a look at dollar yen really quick. Recall I had a trade here. I took a loss when this bullish push up. Talk about that when we had it. I was looking for the upside breaking out of this overall structure. But now, as the trade continued to go down, I was losing more interest in it because I was looking for the bullish push rather than potential. Some of you guys may be looking for a bearish move. I think that's some. Let me just double check. Um, Someone asked me about this. Let me just double check. That's actually, sorry, looking for long instead. But like I said, my long entry was when the price was forming a potential correction here for the push up, right? But as price started dropping down like this, and I'm not seeing too much bullish activity here, then I'm not too in favor of a long at the moment. Okay. What I want to see now, if you're looking for a long, there's obviously two possible options now, right? Is the price going to continue push up from this point forward, and then followed by continuation once we break out this structure? Then that is the same long approach that I had when I was buying from here, right? Whereas if it's going to continue drop, then let it drop down to the previous low once again, and looking for reversal price action at this point forward. That is what I want to see if I'm looking for a long. Much of a entry here. Okay, it's still in this larger structure here, and it is not really forming much structure at this point at this given time. Whereas when I was looking for the entry there, it was a more clear. Okay, so that is dollar yen. So let's move on to a couple other ones. Just going by what you guys told me in the Telegram. Aussie CAD quickly. I'll go over Aussie CAD. Not my favorite Aussies. Okay, other Aussie pair are looking much cleaner in my opinion. But anyways, Aussie CAD. I think some of you guys may be looking for a bearish opportunity. I see this kind of a rising wedge in the formation, and we're approaching kind of this previous top here. Where it's pretty good, but I'm not seeing much anymore at this point. Okay, in terms of price action, I do only see this recent top. I do see this wedge, and that's about it. And then if I zoom out on the higher time frame, unfortunately, I still kind of see this can be a structure like this, right? Impulse and then a larger correction, and then this could be the price push out, and that's kind of what I see on a higher time frame. Even though lower time frame, there might be some sell opportunities, but is this going to be the sell? It leads into a bearish impulse, or is it just going to be more corrective, moving down or moving to this previous low, and then we still continue upwards? That's why it's not my favorite. Okay, not my favorite kind of Aussie pairs. I'll go over a few Swiss. The Aussie Swiss is the better ones. Okay, Euro Aussie is also the better one. So let me go over this really quick. If you guys recall, I was talking about a potential breakup from this point forward if we break out this overall structure or if we form some sort of continuation. But if we zoom here into the lower time frame, channel push down, and then potentially another ascending channel, and then very similar like Aussie dollar, right? Just kind of correcting itself to the top, potentially forming an M style pattern once again, and then looking for that first breakdown and then first lower time frame correction. And that's going to be how I'm going to approach Aussie Swiss. Look very clean. It's pretty much identical like Euro Aussie is just inverted, right? We all know they're very correlated, and just pretty much again, when you have all these pair looking for the same setup, you're just gonna pick one or two max, right? Because if they all play out, they're gonna all play out. And then if they're all going to not play out, they're all not gonna play out, right? So you don't want to risk too much of the capital on the same kind of pairs or same currencies. You want to be a little bit more conservative, right, in that. So also looking for this bearish move down, okay? Looking for just that lower time frame development, like I said, push up a little bit more, and then looking for the first push down, and then continuation at this point forward. So Aussie Swiss, let's go over Aussie Kiwi Telegram. Not much on Aussie Kiwi. You're saying Aussie Kiwi long, right? Not much on Aussie Kiwi. I was looking for a buy opportunity this point forward. Never happened or never shaped up to be the breakout that I was looking for, and so no trade for me. And if we just zoom out here, originally this potentially and price is breaking below, and then it's a little bit consolidating, indecisive here. It could be forming continuation, and then we're just going to go down more and more, right? So it's a little bit unclear. We've been kind of in this downtrend for a while already, so be careful if you're looking for long. I'm still not seeing too much bullish momentum yet. Okay, still want to see a little bit more development, so that's why this one is not on my watch list for this week. Let's go Aussie yen. So a couple yen pairs looking pretty good for strength in yen. Let's take a look. GU just shot up. That's just market open, right? So not too much here, right? As we know, market corrects, market close, market open in an hour, right? So just a little bit of spread. I don't think that's too much there. Okay. So Aussie yen, very similar like a few other Kiwi yen pairs that I'm gonna go over. I like Aussie yen. It's very similar like Aussie dollar, right? We had this overall kind of a parallel channel structure. We had the first impulse and then first larger correctional structure. Top of the overall price action, which is good. You have a swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high. Very typical kind of expanding continuation structure that I always see in the market. And if we go to the lower time frame, kind of that first kind of a mini ascending channel, we had the first push down, and then looking for a continuation correction. So this also looks like an ascending channel correction to me. So two possible options: correct, reason double top, M style pattern I see across the board, and then looking for the sell down. Or if this correction is finished, then look for that first push down and lower time frame correction to push the price down, right? They'll look very clean across the board, looking for that bearish move. And all these entries I'm just setting up just to see I can calculate obviously which one's going to give me the most limited ones. Obviously, you're going to pick the one that's going to be the best setup and the cleanest and the most risk reward from that given time. Pound, is that what you expect for AU as well? Yes, AU, so Aussie dollar, Aussie Swiss, Aussie yen, Euro Aussie, all the same, just like Kiwi dollar, Kiwi yen. So let's go over pound yen. So pound yen, similar idea, looks even a little bit nicer. I've been talking about pound yen for weeks or a month or whatever you guys have been following me, but this is still everything I see, and this is still the most price action. Sorry, the most price action that you can see from any given market. Okay, and I'll explain this in more detail for those ones who are first to see this. But we all know how price action works, right? We all know that when we have a strong impulse down followed by a correction, we're usually going to get the next impulse, right? And as the price continue to develop, you can see that ascending channel, first impulse, and then larger kind of a parallel channel in the making. I like it when you see multiple corrections within the correction, right? You'll see correction, correction, in a larger correction, right? And even this one here, we have an impulse, correction, impulse, but ultimately this is still a larger correction to correct, and we're very likely to get the next bearish continuation, right? Impulse, correction, impulse. Very similar. This is how price moves. So looking here on the lower time frame, I like how we had this previous high, right? Price is moving very correctively, and first push down from the top, very good impulse, followed by a potential continuation correction in the making. So you want to wait for this correction to finish or over. Just looking for a breakout here. I'm looking for a lower time frame correction. That's usually how I would like to enter correction after breakout. Or if you're more safer side, just enter at the breakout here and just have to have a wider stop loss. Different entries, but ultimately, in my opinion, the direction is there, right? The direction we're looking for this bearish push down from this point forward. Impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse. Okay, so that's pound yen. Go to Kiwi yen. So Kiwi yen very similar like Aussie yen, but very similar like Kiwi dollar, Kiwi Swiss, Euro Kiwi, everything, right? We all know that you can see that every time when Kiwi yen is at the top, I'm looking for the sell, and this is it's no difference from a price action point of view, right? When price is at the top, you're looking for sell. When price is at the top, you're looking for sell. And once again, when the price is at the top, looking for sell. Very clean. And you see that price is at the top of overall this corrective structure as a parallel channel structure, very correctively, which is good here on the higher time frame. We finally potentially see that this is more of a ascending channel, more as a reversal channel, and looking for this bearish push down. And looking here on the lower time frame, this is probably the more cleanest one. Same thing with pound yen is that we had this head and shoulder pattern. I can't talk. Very clean head and shoulder pattern. We had a push up and then left shoulder, head, right shoulder in the making, and she's looking for the sell down from this point forward. And if we just zoom out a little bit, like I said, we're at the top of the structure and we failed to break continuation. We failed to do that. Instead, a reverse impulse, continuation in the making, and this. Okay, so that's why I see in Kiwi yen. I think this is definitely the one I'm likely to take as well. If it shapes up to be the entry in the upcoming 24, 48 hours. All of the down to the previous low of the larger structure that they're in, there's just huge risk reward in this, right? So I don't want to miss out any of these Aussie, Kiwi, yen, or dollar pairs, they all look very nice to see you. Good morning. Going join a little bit late, but going 1.25 to catch up. That's funny. So that's Kiwi yen. Let's go to Euro Aussie. So Euro Aussie, I personally took loss or two loss to be honest on this one because, and that's why I'm a little bit more cautious when I come to entering, potentially looking for another entry. If you guys recall, I was looking at Euro Aussie uh, for a potential breakout from this larger structure and then continuation moving forward. But because the lower time frame is showing us otherwise, you're seeing this kind of a falling wedge pattern, right? You're seeing the price getting squeezed, and we had this first pop to the upside. So I was looking for continuation this point forward, and just did not give me that continuation. It just kind of trickles down. So took loss there, but that's fine because now I'm seeing the same thing that we're potentially hitting a recent double bottom. Okay, and this is very corrective, like a descending kind of channel structure. Can we get that first and then first continuation correction? That is kind of how I'm going to approach this if I'm looking for a long opportunity. And if you really look at this, if you guys remember, we were just looking at Aussie Swiss, right? This is Aussie Swiss. Just remember this. This is I'll go over Euro Aussie, and if you just invert the chart, this is exactly like Aussie Swiss, right? Exactly. So you're so very likely, like I said this a couple times earlier, is very likely you're just going to take one or two the same play out. If they play out nicely, if they're not going to play out, you're just going to take additional losses as you go, right? So you see Euro Aussie very similar. This is just invert chart of Euro Aussie, right? And invert chart of Aussie Swiss. So very similar, okay? So Euro Aussie looking for that bullish push up to the top and then potentially looking for the sell from that point forward because ultimately I'm still seeing this is a very clean kind of push down, okay? We had a first impulse up from the COVID and then instead of continuation, we had a reversal impulse, potentially continuation correction to push the price down even more, right? You can see this as a potential head and shoulder as well. Okay, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, looking for the downside. Okay, so that's Euro Aussie. Let's move on to Euro Pound. The Euro Pound, this one is pretty interesting. I like Euro Pound as well. Some of you guys may be looking at Euro Pound for the long as well. So I like Euro Pound because the overall structure is very clear, right? We see this on the higher time frame. If you guys would just zoom out a little bit more, that you had this first impulse up, right? And then that you had a reverse, there's a larger kind of a correctional structure in the making. And I do see this is not closely to be finished yet. Price needs to make another top before the continuation downside. Okay, so that's what I see for the next, the days and weeks time. I do see this is the overall corrective structure to correct this move. And now we're very likely to get the next push up to make this impulse correction impulse and completing this overall structure from the downside this point forward. Okay, so Euro Pound looking pretty clean. Also on one of my watch lists for this upcoming days, and looking like it can be very clean. I know some of you guys maybe got into this. I felt that I just remember some of you guys talking about some candles here on the 4 hours. And like I said, I don't trade based on candles because candles is just one way of analyzing the chart, right? I think I've made this example before is that is just one way of looking at it, right? But what if people looking at a line, right? And how can you tell by looking at the lines here that it's going to be reversal? I understand candlestick, you might have a low pass candle, right? So that could be a good indication of a buy. But if you're looking at it or you're looking at the charts differently, let's say you're looking at a line, you're never going to see those candles. But what you're going to see, regardless of any these ways of to show the market as you're going to see price action, right? You're going to see correction, you're going to see impulse, correction, you're going to see the next impulse, right? That does not change, okay? That's kind of why I don't necessarily always use candles as one way to determine. I will use candlestick formations when it's to be an added confluence to a trade. Like I'm seeing everything is good, price action, this is good, this is an impulse, this is a correction. How do I utilize price candlestick? Well, if I'm looking for a buy here, if it kind of drop down here and then form a low test here, that would be a good clear indication that this is going to be a reversal price to continue upwards, but we know that already from the price action point of view, right? So the candlesticks just adds a little bit more confluence to my trades, but it's not going to be given must have or must. So let's go Euro Kiwi. So Euro Kiwi also looks really clean to me for the continuation for the upside move, just like Euro Aussie. Let's take. So Euro Kiwi, if you guys recall, I've been selling Euro Kiwi from the top for the third time, right? First time, second time here, and just the third time. That's going to work out the most, right? Because when we see the pattern finish from the top, right, we're going to see the next bearish impulse. It's just very naturally to break out and then continue downwards. I personally only captured two, not at it. It was a good trade and able to capture some of that move and happy with that. And looking at the current price action now, because we dropped so much, right? Because we dropped so much and we're pretty much at the previous lows. We broke the previous low, but we did not continue. Instead, lower time frame gives us a different indication, is that we had this first bullish push up, and potentially this is a continuation correction in the making. Okay, so you want to see this as an inverse head and shoulder as well. So right shoulder in the making. We see Euro Kiwi play this out a lot of times in the past. If we just zoom out here, this is an inverse head and shoulder, right? With price push up. There was an inverse head and shoulder here as well. Price push up massively. You can see that when the price is forming that right shoulder, it drops down lower and then it impulse up, right? And that's kind of how the price action has been. You have seen the left shoulder, head, potentially right shoulder, and we're looking for this next impulse up. Okay, so that's Euro Kiwi, also looking very clean for me. But like I said, I'm only gonna pick a few Kiwi pairs, just like I'm gonna pick a few Aussie pairs, very similar across the board, just not necessarily going to put in more capital for the same pair. All right. Euros for sale. Euro Swiss is now on my watch list, but I can take a look. I personally don't. I don't think I ever even traded Euro Swiss. I'll be honest. I just one of those peg currencies. If you guys remember what peg means, it's just Swiss had a deal where they're just going to make their money relatively close, so easy for monetary trading reasons or any kind of global macro point of view. That's not my specialty. But anyways, after if you guys recall, I don't know if you guys were trading. I was trading. I certainly was. Is when the Swiss decide not to peg the currency anymore, right? So pretty much the Swiss strengthened, and then most of the Swiss pretty much gained so much massive momentum during 1 day area. This is also just a side note. This is also when a lot of people lose their money in their account. By the way, thankfully I wasn't in any of the pair, or I wasn't even trading during this day or whatever. But because this was a shocking news, this was not a planned news or anything. This was like an unexpected news, and that's why when something like that happened, your trades are not going to get liquidation enough. There's no one buying, right? So there's everyone. Um, your position's not going. Your stop loss is not going to get triggered and stuff. So that's just a back in the day story. I don't see that happening anymore in today's reason, anyways. But anyways, back into Euro Swiss, I don't really see a sell, to be honest. I'm actually seeing more as a buy, to be honest. Uh, price had a this bullish push up, and we're just being this longer period consolidation correction. We're right back at this previous double bottom, and then you can see that there's a potential inverse head and shoulder as well making. So a reversal price at the bottom of the structure, which is good. And you're seeing this potential kind of a right shoulder and a flag kind of making as well. That's why I don't see this as too much of a sell personally from a higher time frame perspective. Okay, but I'm not even going to look for really into trading Euro Swiss. Let's go to Kiwi Cat. So Kiwi Cat, same thing like Aussie Cat, where it's not my favorite Kiwi or favorite Aussie, whatever you want to see. It's top of the structure now, right? We're potentially seeing this W pattern, right? Top of the structure, pretty much a reversal structure potentially. But this here on the lower time frame, not too clear of what I'm seeing. Better with this kind of a rising wedge structure, whereas KiwiCAD is not too clear to me. But of course, if Kiwi loses strength, then this move can still play out. But different Kiwi pairs than KiwiCAD, for example. So let's look at Kiwi Swiss, which is the one that I'm looking at. So it's very similar like Euro Kiwi, right? It's just inverse once again, right? Where if you Kiwi Swiss, go to Euro Kiwi, and then if we reverse it, a very similar structure as well. Okay, so let's talk about Kiwi Swiss really quick. Again, I was looking for Kiwi Swiss to break up to the upside and then looking for a continuation. But instead, I'm just not seeing that from price action. And that's why it's good to, you know, pay attention to the market as the price continue to develop, right? You can have one bias first, right? But as the price action continue to develop, you have to adjust to what the market is doing, because market is ever evolving and changing, right? And it's ever growing. So we had this push up, but instead of a continuation correction, we pretty much instead we had a lower time frame impulse reversing back up, reversing down, and potentially once again we're seeing this ascending channel structure. And is the price going to continue to correct itself to the top? That's even better, right? Because I'm seeing the M style pattern once again. Or if it's going to break out from here, then same idea, lower time frame continuation, looking for the sell down to the bottom of the structure. Okay. Morning. Bitcoin, I will check Bitcoin after, okay? Let me go through over the currency market first. I'll jump to crypto after. Morning. Good to see you guys. So let's continue here. Pound CAD just on my second. Overall structure, we're still in this overall larger kind of, you want to call this of not an expanding structure, okay? Just more of a squeeze structure, whereas usually I see structure like this, but same idea here. It's a little bit more neutral once the price is in this, once the price has been consolidating or correcting for 3-4 years already. So it's a little bit more neutral. But what I'm seeing here on the lower time frame is this is M style pattern push down and larger kind of expanding parallel channel structure, potentially a continuation structure for this move and correct itself, and then looking for the next downside. Okay, but not as good because the higher time frame is kind of in the middle of nowhere, whereas there's a few other pairs that are looking much more clean. They're looking much more in potentially in the impulsive time frame market. Okay. Last one, someone asked about pound kiwi, right? Someone asked about pound kiwi. So let's take a look here. Pound kiwi long, someone was saying, right? I personally don't see much of this. I'll explain this why. Yes, you're looking at this as potential double bottom. Yeah, I do agree. But I just overall this higher time frame is a little bit messy. This is the higher time frame now, right? So larger impulse, larger correction, very clean. I mean, very straightforward at this point so far. But what about this latest bit of price action? It's a little bit indecisive. I saw this left shoulder head right shoulder, and then right shoulder just didn't continue forward. And instead, we're just stalling here. We had to push up and we push down once more. So what is it telling us? Well, it's telling us that this overall piece can just develop a little bit longer. Okay, so it may not be the reversal that we're looking to. Instead, it can just be consolidating in this period a little bit longer. Okay, if you're looking for Kiwi to lose strength, I definitely see other ones like Kiwi Yen, Euro Kiwi, Kiwi Swiss look much cleaner than Kiwi. Okay, this is probably because pound is also losing strength and Kiwis is also losing strength, right? So there are two currency that's losing strength. It's not likely to be too aggressive, whereas the usual ones that we look for when Kiwi loses strength, you're going to get that strong bearish move, right? You see when price is in that impulsive phase of the market, price is going to move very fast. But once it's out of that impulsive phase, it's going to be right? Take longer. But what I'm seeing here, once everything here in terms of price action finish correcting, finish the consolidating phrase, we're going to get the next impulsive phrase. Okay. So any question on of the that I went over? Any other ones that I missed that you were looking at for this week or for this next 24, 40 hours? ACB, I'll go over that after, okay? I'm going to go and I'll jump into. So let's jump into crypto really quick. Bitcoin. So Bitcoin continue to go. Some of you guys may have gotten. I don't know if that guy who told me who got in all the way at the bottom here is still in. Hopefully he is. Then he's making good money, right? So this was the one of the trade I posted. He told it from you. What I'm looking at this is that we're approaching to the previous top now, right? We're approaching to the previous top of the price action. Okay. Of course, I do want to. What I'm seeing this as an overall kind of a scoop kind of formation. Okay, you usually see this, and you usually see a decline for at least a pullback in some point of time. So if you want to jump in, because we impulse so much already, you want to look for a bigger kind of continuation correction to push the price up, right? Otherwise, you jumping in, sure, it may have worked out after a strong push up without a further continuation, you're likely just going to get tagged out, right? Because the price needs to correct itself before the next up move. But for now, I'm not seeing too much of a correction for me to even consider. This was much better because there was a correction after breakout. So it was a large correction, we break out, and then a small lower time frame continuation. That is the entry. Let's go to Ethereum really quick. Ethereum also closing to the previous top. If we zoom out here a little bit, this was the previous top. So we're approaching to this previous top once. Ugly here, in my opinion. The correct buy was, or here was when price broke out this overall higher time frame structure. When I had the first push up, this potentially it was a correction. Looking like it's approaching to the previous top, and it's a little bit slowing down. It's a little bit not too aggressive now, so be a little bit more careful looking for the buy here. Personally, I won't be looking for the buy here. So let's look at Link USD still continue to move up, still continue to make the same kind of correctional structure that we've been seeing over and over again, right? So this correction, once it's over, same idea, push up, correction, push up, push up. Ultimately, you want to see price to break this top or continue to this top area and then reconsider what the price will do. Last one, OMG, finally had this breakout from this larger structure, which is good. And then we had this impulse, we had this correctional structure, another impulse. So this correction here could be a very likely a continuation to push the price to the previous top. Okay, so this one's actually looking pretty interesting for me. So I'll put that as a potential for the upstroke, for the up move. Okay, so that is all the crypto I'm looking at for this week. Not too much uh, in terms of entries, really, because I rather think they're already gone or they're a little bit indecisive in where they are. Okay, only ones I'm looking at either OMG or Link for this upcoming week, really. Any questions on those guys before I finish up with a few equities? You who are new, in case you didn't know, I post all the stuff in my Telegram. In case you guys know, so it's easy for you to follow everything I have on all my streams, all my analysis, all my video content, all that educational stuff is all here free. Okay, so just join that if you guys want more information. All right, and this is my trading view in case you didn't see me from before. So let's move on to ACB. I know you guys, someone you're asking about ACB. Unfortunately, I don't really see the same potential bullish anymore. If you recall, I was looking for a buy opportunity. I posted this even here. maybe a week ago and whatnot. I was looking for a continuation. I was looking for some sort of structure to build here. It has to be a structure that is tangible enough for me to consider an entry. We had this overall longer period consolidation and first push up, and normally you want to look for continuation, but price is somewhat indecisive. We had a price move up, move down, and then I remember someone told me there was a news that happened, so it kind of just went down once more. So personally, not really looking for anything at this more anymore. Sorry, just not too clear to me. Is this going to continue anymore? Because we had a push up and then we pretty much had a push down right after. Okay, that's why ACP is no longer on my interest level. I'll still pay attention to it as we go. And let's go over Boeing. Boeing was actually the one that I'm still relatively very interesting for a buy. Most I think was a couple of weeks ago. Anyways, they had this impulse out of this overall parallel channel structure, which is good, and then waiting for a continuation correction here, right? So there was potentially a correction here on the lower time frame. Excuse me, I personally didn't get in. I was looking for a little bit more development here actually, but this is still a descending channel nevertheless, and this is still an impulse correction. We push up once again. Event, right? Someone was telling me again, something to do with vaccine or something to do with whatever. That gives the airline some hope, right? You'll know that Boeing and AAL was going to be very similar stuff, right? Because American Airline Group really, really closely correlated together. Okay, so that is Boeing. Disney. Disney was one of the things I was looking at that we had this push up correction. Also sort of continuation here for the continuation upside. And last one I want to go over, well, Nike, yeah, I'm still, well, still in this Nike trade, still looking for this. Know that structurally, price always have to form a larger structure for a continuation, right? We see this push up, we see this larger correction, and we see this correction after breakout. So in the making, which is good. And ultimately, you're looking for another continuation out of that structure here and then continue to push upwards. Okay, so that's Nike. Last one I want to go over Tesla. Someone once again told me just an hour ago or two, Tesla is going to be in the S&P 500. So that is good for Tesla. So there was some strength in Tesla after hours, whatever. But overall, if you look at the structure, it just needs to form a larger continuation after a strong bullish move. So bullish impulse, bullish continuation, bullish correction, and then bullish continuation from this point forward. Right? We have seen the price does that over and over again. Impulse, correction, impulse. This was a lower time frame continuation buy, and then this was a larger correction in the making. Wait for price to pop out, which is likely to do when New York opens, and wait for a continuation to go upside. Okay, so that's what I see on Tesla. That's the last one I want to go over for equity. Any questions on anything as well? Yeah, so that's Tesla. Hopefully that just answer what you just asked. Thanks, Jojo. Great summary. See you, Richie. ETH sure. This is what I'm seeing here. This wasn't even in my watch, but I like what I'm seeing here, right? I think this is probably what you're seeing as well. We had this impulse, correction, impulse, pretty much another continuation correction for the next impulse, right? So that's what Ethereum, Bitcoin, very clean, very good structure for the continuation upside. Okay, and you want to see what the price will do once we're at this previous top once more, because this is where the previous top for the price to bullish move likely to happen in the upcoming days or so. Okay. Any other question, guys? Any other questions or anything you want me to, you want to ask me about? Feel free to join me on my channel so you can ask me questions or interact with others. That's easy for the best way to ask me questions. Okay. Dollar yen. Went over dollar yen. Not my favorite. Not really seeing much on dollar yen. I was looking for a buy. If you guys recall, there was a buy opportunity for me here. Took a loss here, and then because price already dropped down, and this is just not really clean kind of price action. I'm not really seeing too much in terms of this area. So, and it's because it's once again just kind of like in the middle of this larger correction now. So it's not too clear what it's going to do. So if I'm not sure, then I'm happy to stay out of this one. Oh yeah, did I not go over gold all that? Yeah, that's a good question. Good job, buddy. I did not even go over any of the commodities, right? Okay, so let me go over gold. Yeah, I totally just missed out on the commodities, eh? Yeah, so let's talk about gold. So what I see gold here, and this is what I post here as well, is that this is kind of what I'm seeing now, right? Originally, I was more seeing as a potential buy opportunity, okay? But as the price keep developing, this is what I said about euro dollar as well. Remember euro dollar on the daily time frame, lower time frame price action and structure continue to develop. It deviate from the higher time frame bias, okay? So looking at gold here, if you guys recall, fear of missing out of that, feel free to check that out. The point is, price pushed down like this massively, naturally followed by a continuation correction, and this was one of the short I got in, looking very clean. And now after this sharp impulse, again, naturally price is forming a continuation, and we see another strong lower time frame impulse down as well. So this makes me believe that this is just a continuation of overall everything: impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. Right, very clean to me. So what I want to see here is exactly what I want to see in this analysis is that I want the price to continue to develop here a little bit longer, right? You wanted this continuation correction to correct this such a sharp, strong move and continuation for the bearish run. Okay, so still not too complete in my opinion. I think there was some quick drop down here and then quick pop out, but as long as the price is still in this structure, as long as price is still in this, I would still say the lower time frame looks bearish to me, that we can still get this continuation pushed down from this point forward. Okay, so that's what I see on gold, but not yet ready. It might be slightly larger and we can potentially get the push down this point forward. Silver, very similar. I made this post in silver as well, right? More simpler than gold in my opinion, that this is just one big impulse and this is just a larger correction. This is a more kind of a parallel channel structure. We had a few swing low, swing high, swing low, and looking for a, here, let me find this, looking for a potential sell, right? Because either price is going to finish correcting here and we push down, so this is an impulse, one more trip to the top, so reason top, double top, M style pattern, reversal structure, and then push down from this point forward. Okay, so I do see these two possible setup. As price still in this area, still in, because this is just strong impulse. This can be a continuation correction. We'll just see the next impulse from this point forward. Okay, so that's what I see on silver. And last one I want to go over is oil. Are you only trading the China market? You mean the Asian market? No, I trade all three sessions if possible. So it's what's one of the key thing about good thing about trading the currency market is that it's open 24 hours, 5 days a week, right? So as long as time allows you to be present during those sessions, then you're free to trade any sessions you want, right? So yeah, oil. I want to talk about oil really quick because oil looking pretty clean to me as well on the higher time frame. So early into oil for all that time because after that crash that we see, right, we crash below zero, -37 for future, all that. That's all in the past now, right? So let's look at the current price action. Is that this is what I'm seeing. We had this kind of recovery from oil since we dropped down to zero. and then we had this kind of ascending channel animation, ascending kind of a structure in place. So correcting the price, we had a first push down from that correct impulse, which is followed by just a larger, once again, expanding structure, right? We're at the top once again. So previous top, double top of the overall structure. We had a swing low, swing high, swing low. Very typical expansion to the shorter time frame. I had originally thought this push down right here and then was going to form a continuation pushing down even further, but instead we're just forming a deeper correction here, which is fine. I still see the higher time frame very clearly of what it's going to do. So impulse, larger correction, looking for the next impulse, at least to the previous low, and then we can kind of reevaluate what the price can do. So for now, to see what the lower time frame is likely to do. What is this a ascending channel? We're gonna push down this point forward, or are we just going to develop a little bit further correctional structure here? Okay, so that's oil. So I totally missed the commodity side, but gold, silver, oil are the three that I'm looking at for this week. Yeah, cotton. Let me see. So cotton, looking this on higher time frame. I was talking about that there's a previous double top, so a double top here on the higher time frame, which is good. We had this ascending longer period higher time frame channel, correcting the price is also good. So we hit the double top, we had the first impulse on the lower time frame, which is very clean, and potentially we're forming a larger continuation structure to push the price down. Okay, and we're just at this overall within this higher time frame channel still. So waiting for the breakout, waiting for continuation would be safer. Okay, but going down from this point forward, it may not even give you a continuation. It might just start dropping this point forward, right? Because we know that when price is in this kind of a ascending channel corrective structure, once the price is finished, right, you see this very steep ascending channel within the ascending channel, and you have this first impulse push down, right? So that's also very similar, like most of the indices that we see as well across the board. Okay, so that's also another one that is on my watch list for this week. And that is all the commodities. Dollar CAD. I don't think I went over dollar CAD because dollar CAD is not my favorite dollar pair. Some of you guys may be looking for obviously continuing buy because we broke the previous bottom and then again no continuation, instead a reversal impulse, right? This was the first impulse, reversal impulse, and then we're potentially getting a continuation correction, this bullish push up. Okay, but I do prefer the couple other dollar pair a little bit better, especially like Aussie dollar, Kiwi dollar, pound dollar. They all look relatively better compared to dollar CAD. Okay. Any other question, guys? Any other questions or pairs you want me to look at? When did you know that you were ready to trade, or how did you know? Well, that's a simple but a hard question. Simple meaning that because I've been trading for 7 years, that I know exactly what I'm looking for. So, for example, Kiwi yen, I'm looking for the entry, right? I'm looking for this continuation correction to finish, waiting for the breakout, waiting for a correction to go, right? That is when I know I'll enter, and that's it, right? But the hard part is if you're relatively new trading or to the market, this won't be so clear to you, right? You see it, you won't understand. But that's just how trading works. You have to start somewhere, and then you have to really do back testing. You need to journal down all your trades. You need to work on your emotions and things to see these kind of setups and just execute them without hesitation or without any emotions, right? No fear of losing and no fear of missing out. Okay. For SPX, are you waiting for it to hit the top of the channel you drew before shortening? Really, a couple options here for S&P is that to the top, so a potential reason double top or M style pattern, and then looking for reversal price action from the top, and looking for short, or let the price correct itself in this kind of waiting for lower time frame correction to jump in. That's the second option. That's kind of how I see S&P for this upcoming 1 or 2 days. But if it's going to continue to break up, then no trade for me, right? No, nothing. What I'm trying to say is doesn't hurt me or doesn't make me feel bad that if it just continue to push upwards, because for me, for my strategy, for my entries, I'm looking for the sell, right? I'm not looking for the buy. But if it continue to go up, then I will be thankful that I didn't enter any sell, then I saved my capital, and I'll be reanalyzing the market from that point forward. Okay. Analyzing the market from. So, any other question, guys? Any other questions for me? Like I said, if you guys join me too late or whatever, just add me on Telegram here. Okay, add me my Telegram if you're interested, and then you can ask me questions in my group discussion chat. Okay. One last question. People say you need to trade for 2 years before becoming profitable, but could I backtest 2 years to become profitable? To me, it's the same. No, and when you backtest, you're putting in the time and energy and hours, right? And the emotion and learning a skill, right? So it doesn't really matter about what you do. It's you need to be still to be profitable, right? Because you often hear people give up in trading after 3 months, 6 months. The typical 90% people lose money or 95 or whatever you hear about. The point is, most people lose money in trading, right? Because most people don't understand what trading is. Most people think trading is about hitting the grand slam, right? Hitting a home run. You take one trade, you're gonna make massive profit. That's how trading. They think that's what trading is, but that's not trading at all, right? Trading for me, for my personal experience, obviously everyone sees this differently. It's about consistently making profit and then consistently taking trades. You're going to take losses, you're going to take wins. And then at the end of the month, do they balance? Do you have a profitable month or do you have a profitable quarter? Right? That's how trading is. It's not about risking your $100 and then jump to 10,000, right? That's just what people's mentality is. And that's why when with their $100, they're going to lose so fast that they're just going to think trading is a scam, right? And that's how the social media portrays trading is, right? Unfortunately, right? But the real trader, profitable trader, consistent trader, whatever you want to call the people who are still trading, is going to tell you differently, right? Because they know you're not going to sell here. You're not going to make all this money. It's just impossible. But what you're likely to do is you might enter here and then you sell here, right? And then you wait for another correction, you buy here, and then you sell here, and you're minimizing your losses, and that's how you're going to grow your account. That's going to how you compound your account, and that's kind of how you every time when you take a trade, you're naturally your 1% or 1.5% is bigger, right? That is how you actually going to be a consistent and profitable trader. Not about trying to hit the home run, trying to sell here, and then trying to make all that money. You're not going to do that, right? So hope that answers that question. Hope that makes sense to you. But like I said, put in the time and effort, right? It's whether you're trading, whether you're back testing, but you need to put in the time and effort, and you need to be still in the game. You still need to be in the market consistently to train yourself, right? It's like learning a profession. It's like learning to be a doctor, right? I talk about this example a lot, but it's like trying to be a physician doctor that takes 10 years of study and practicum stuff. And trading is the same, but people think that they can do it within 1 year, which is literally impossible, right? I'm sure there are some geniuses, smart people. I'm not saying there's people who cannot, but 95% on top people are just going to learn it normally, right? So when you learn or you need to put in the time and effort, then you need to put in time and effort, right? You're not going to suddenly become a profitable trader because you take someone's, genius courses, or you're going to do, someone's lesson or whatever, right? Sure, they're going to be very honest. They're going to market that way that you can learn their strategy and lesson in a couple of months. You're going to be right away making money. But truthfully, you're not likely to do that, right? Because it's just not how it works. Okay. What does that mean exactly? You can see on the top here, I do all the This is what multi-time frame analysis I do, from a top-down approach, right? Monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute, 5 minute, right? That's kind of how I look at the market from a multi-time frame analysis, from a top-down approach, right? This is going to give you much better confluence and much better opportunity and probability trades than you just looking at one single time frame, which is 1 hour or daily that people usually look at. You want to look at multiple time frame that is going to lead to you the same bias that you have, and that's going to help you to filter out mediocre trades to the better trades that you're looking for. Okay. Sometimes I think I'm ready to trade and I jump on the market and feels like I don't know what's going on. I'm sure you're not the only one. To be honest, I'm sure you're not the only one. There's many people who are in your situation, but it's how everybody started. You think all the professional traders were not born with the skills or talent, right? Everyone needs to put in the time and effort to uh, mistakes. To be honest, I make a lot of mistakes when I start trading. You make a lot of real money mistakes, and which is why it hurts you the most. But which also going to tell you that when you lose real, that can happen. People usually get emotion and rage, and they start revenge trading. They start gambling. They start randomly enter trades and they blow their account and they say bye to trading, or you lose money in real trading and then you're going to you know journal it down and you're going to go over them and think about why did you take a loss. Is it your analysis that's wrong, or is it because your emotion, you're just randomly entering trades, whatnot? Are you following your trading plan? Are you following your risk management plan? And that is how you're going to continue to get better, right? It's like any skills you learn, guys. It's like when you go to high school, university. It's the same idea, right? You're learning a subject you don't know. You put in the time to read the book, and then when the exam comes, you do. Then you. So same thing with trading is just there's no there's no like a school system for trading, right? And there's no a license for trading, right? For you to be a lawyer, accountant, or doctor, you need a license to be them, right? Whereas trading, any 16-year-old kid can open an account, deposit $100, and start trading. There's no limitation on that. That's really the difference. That's also really why people lose a lot of money, because there's no restriction on that part. Okay. Do I trade full time? Yeah, I've been trading 7 years. Yes. All right, guys. So, any other question, guys? I think this is most of the questions already. Answered most of the questions. So, if any of you guys who are new, like I said, join my Telegram and ask me questions there. Okay, I do these streams. Try to do 3 times a week. I usually do a weekly outlook. Okay, I missed that this week. Apologize. But I will, and then I'll do 2 daily market streams usually in a week, and then in my Telegram I'll try to do a quick market update, by just in typing, and I'll post analysis on those days I don't have the streams. Okay, so ask me on Telegram. What's my Telegram? Right here, you can click it. German 30, sure. Did go over in German 30 relatively quick. Um, Even though the higher time frame looks like it could be a bullish fall on now, okay. Once again, we're at the top of the overall kind of price action, where we're at this top area now. It looks like it's going to form a correction here. Okay, so be a little bit more patient. I know I keep saying this, is that this can lead into continuation or reversal, and we're just dropping down from this larger correction here. Okay, so what happens here is very crucial to figure out what the price is going to do. So now my favorite to watch, I just like the US indices a little bit they are right now. Okay, so that's German 30. Johannum. I hope that's how you pronounce it. I see you all the time. I just don't know how to pronounce that name. Johannum. How do you trade full time? I manage your trading expense and also keep growing it. That's actually a very good question. I'll tell you. I'll explain my way of doing it. I pronounce it right. There's a few separate ways to do it, but the most simplest way is really just take a percentage of your profit out. Okay, if that makes sense. Is that let's just say you make, let's say for simplicity, you make $100 this month. Okay, the actual scale varies, right? Let's say you make $100 a month this month from your profit in trading. What you want to do is you can take out a percentage, okay, and then you have a percentage remain in the account for it to keep growing. So naturally, in the beginning of your trading career, I wouldn't suggest to take any money out. This is what I did at least. So in the beginning of your trading career, you should definitely have a secondary income or some sort of other income, a job that is going to sustain your own life, right? Whatever, you have a family, you have a life, you have things going on, you need to sustain life, right? So you shouldn't take out any money. And then once your account keep growing, once your profit becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, then what you can do is take out a percentage. So you can do 50% takeout. So you take out $50 profit, right? So you take 50% out. So that goes you for your living, right? Your expense, whatever. And then your other 50% remains in there. So keep compounding growth. So the next month, every time when you have your profit, you take 50% out to live, you reinvest 50%. So your account side is still growing. So you're still compounding your account. So every trade you take, if you're in profit, your same 1% or 1.5% is going to continue to grow. Okay. And eventually you're going to reach a point where you really don't even need to take that much money out, or you want to adjust to what your life condition is. Let's say you want to take out 75% to live now, and then you want to just keep 25% in the account for it to grow. That's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But it's all about how you start in the beginning and how you continue to grow, and then closer to the end, when your account size is so big, how you're going to adjust. Because as your account size grow, as you make more money, the real business-minded people is going to take this more out, and rather than using it all for living expenses like blowing the money, you're going to reinvest in some other business activities, right? That's just how it works. This is how the rich gets richer. The rich doesn't necessarily trade, but it's the same idea as rich people have a business, and then once the business make money, they're going to take out a portion of their monthly profit and they're going to reinvest in other business and for the business. And as the new business grow, same idea, right? This leads to here now. The new business to grow, again, they can start with 50% to take out and then 50% to reinvest in the business. But as the business does work well, and then they'll just reinvest into another business, right? That's how the rich gets richer, guys. It's very simple. Yet normal people will not grasp this because normal people have the mindset of, right, check every month, right? That's how it is. Okay, unfortunately, we're living in today's society where this is how people naturally do. They earn $100 this month, they spend $100 this month. Both people earn $100, like I said, 25% goes to living, they invest 75% of it to something else, right? And that's how the business keep growing. They jump into more and more things, and you have so many passive incomes that you don't need to rely on one income anymore. And I'll be honest, that's exactly my situation. Trading is not my only income. All right, let me repeat this. Trading is not my only income. Okay, it is one of my income, but it's not my only income, right? There's other incomes I make, other things that you can do. Once you're good at trading, once you're, consistent, you have a lot more time now, right? You have a lot more time to do other things. You don't need to be like what I say stubborn to just be like a trading person, right? Because the money you make or the other things that comes out, it balances yourself. You can take the money to reinvest or do other things with it. You don't need to put it all in trading, right? What time tomorrow? If you join my Telegram, I'll post next stream updates whenever. Okay. Yeah, exactly, newbie. It doesn't really matter how it's a percentage, how you want to do, take out whatever, right? So should I start trading with all money and leverage it, or should I just use FTMO? I have nothing against FTMO, but for beginners, I would not use FTMO, to be honest. FTMO is good, but I'm not saying you're not. But if you're really not an experienced trader, I wouldn't suggest use FTMO. But you're just gonna give up. You're just gonna end up paying them money, and then people are gonna say it's a scam, right? I know people who do that. It's actually a legitimate company. You actually make exactly what they said. But most people join FTMA, you have to pay, right? You have to pay. They're not gonna give you money for free for no very simple money. But people usually don't end up hitting their goal or whatever it is, right? And then the money that they put in is taken by them. And that's how it is, right? So if you're not experienced, rich people understand truly take advantage of compounding in a big scale. Yes, definitely. That is how it works. But yeah, that's it, guys. So that is my little 2 cents there on trading and business and whatnot, right? Rich people compounding their money, right? That's just how it works. Grow their business and empire so big, right? Anyways, so happy to see you guys next time. Okay, like I said, any questions, ask me on Telegram, and I will post the next daily update on there in the next 24, 48 hours. All right. So thank you very much, and have a nice day, everyone.